Good morning, everyone. So good to have you join me when God says go and you say no. And we're going to read from Jonah chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. When most people think about Jonah or hear the name Jonah, they think about that big, great fish. Storms, waves, that 3-day Airbnb inside a giant sea creature. That's what we think about. I remember the first time I heard this story from my Sunday school teacher, and it was amazing to me. It was wild, unforgettable for me, and I had a pretty big imagination at the time. But as I grew older, honestly, the biggest shock in Jonah's story isn't the fish. The biggest shock is that a prophet, someone who knew God, heard his voice, got a clear word from the Lord, clear directive, and still ran the other way. God said, Jonah, go to Nineveh. And Jonah said, no. And he didn't even flinch. He didn't even pray about it. He didn't even push back. You know what he did? He just turned around and hit the ground and just ran the opposite direction. Now, I hope that doesn't sound familiar to you, but I bet it does, at least to me. I mean, we've all done it, haven't we? It's not that we don't believe God. No, we believe in God. It's not that we've stopped loving Him. No, we love Him. We just don't want to go there. Not that tough conversation. Even though you know you need it, you don't want to have it. Not that city is too far. It's too dangerous. It's too much money. Not that relationship. I don't want to forgive. I don't want to obey. Not that hard thing. Whatever that may be, and we know in our heart God said a clear word about these matters, and we refuse to do it because it's easier to run, easier to delay, easier to say no. And we've all said it in one way or another. If God really told me, I'll obey. Well, God told Jonah, and he still booked a ticket to Tarshish, not Nineveh, the opposite direction. And here's the crazy part. It worked for a while. For Jonah, it worked for a while. He found a ship. And it seems like whenever we run away from God, we always find a ship. He had money. The schedule lined up. It looked like everything was falling into place. But listen, just because it's easy doesn't mean it's right. Proverbs 14:12 says, there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Sometimes the most dangerous place you can be is the one that looks the most convenient. The most dangerous place you can be sometimes is the one that looks the most comfortable. Jonah was far from Nineveh, far from his assignment, and worst of all, he was far from God's presence. And let me tell you, here is the good news. God did not give up. God did not give up. He chased Jonah down, not to punish him, but to bring him back. The storm, and I don't want to minimize storms of our lives, was mercy. The fish, rescue. The detour, grace. You know, God could have said, forget it, Jonah. You go, do your thing. I'm going to find somebody else to do my work. But God didn't. And I think here is what we need to pay attention to. God's calling is not based on your performance or my performance. It's anchored in His purpose. And when Jesus talked about Jonah in Matthew chapter 12, verse 40, He made it very clear. See, Jonah ran from sinners, and Jesus ran toward them. Jonah said no to the mission, Jesus said yes to the cross. Jonah ended up in the belly of a fish for his own sin. Jesus entered the grave, the belly of the earth, for our sin. And we ought to remember that that's the kind of Savior you and I follow. Philippians chapter 2 verse 8 tells us he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. You know what that means? What that means is this: even when you say no, God still says yes to you. Let me say that again. Even when you say no, God still says yes to you. So let me ask you, my friends, where are you running? Is there a conversation you've been avoiding? A person God's asking you to forgive? A place He's calling you to step into, but for whatever reason, fear is holding you back. The hope is this. The hope is that it's not too late. God who went and rescued Jonah is still the same God we have today. You haven't missed it. God still knows your name. He still wants your heart. And He hasn't moved on. You don't have to be perfect. None of us are. You just have to turn around. That little yes in your heart, God can use it in ways you can't even imagine. Because He's not finished. He's not finished writing your story. And He's not finished writing my story. So let this morning and today be your turning point. Let today be your yes to the Lord. And may the Lord bless you as you begin this day. And may you honor Him in the most glorious way you can possibly do. At work, in the family, in your relationships. That He receives the glory. And you'll be used by Him for His glorious work. God bless you, my friends. If that has blessed you, please click that like button. Smash it so others can join us. And I'll see you on Wednesday.